Hello, it's me, your Martin from VIGOR. Today we've brought an exciting topic for you, compact wheel bearings. A compact wheel bearing is, just as the name suggests, a compact component in the vehicle and consists of several assemblies. We have the wheel bearing itself, the robust hub, the essential retaining ring that later securely holds the bearing in its precise position, and usually a crucial magnetic strip at the back which accurately transmits the wheel speed data to the vehicle's ABS system. If we take a closer look at the bearing and briefly focus on the retaining ring here, you can already see that this is a single-use ring. That means when the wheel bearing is pressed in, this ring snaps into a groove in the wheel bearing housing and sits firmly in place. Once the wheel bearing is inside the housing, we can't access it anymore. If we remove the wheel bearing, it gets damaged, so you don't really have to worry much when removing it. What's interesting is the installation. When installing, we have to be especially careful not to transfer the pressing force into the wheel bearing housing through the rolling elements. In other words, just placing the whole thing and pressing it in from the outside won't work. We have to press on the outer ring of the bearing so that the rolling elements inside aren't damaged during installation. In fact, if you do it wrong, you'll have the new wheel bearing in there, but it won't work. For this, we need precise tools, and VIGOR has something really interesting in their lineup. Let's take a closer look at the tool. Here we have the compact wheel bearing tool V4680 in the multibox. It consists of various components. First, the main component, the cross beam here. Right now, the feet for pressing out the wheel bearings are mounted. We can swap them out and later mount the feet for pressing in the wheel bearings. The set includes various adapter rings to protect the ABS sensors during installation. We don't have to remove the sensors, we can leave them in, which is a huge advantage. And we also have adapter rings for front wheel bearings. Those are a bit more specialized, but otherwise, with the wheel bearing tool, we can install and remove almost all compact wheel bearings currently available on the market. Now we're at the car and can recognize all the components again, just as we saw earlier. Here, the compact wheel bearing is installed in the housing. We know that right back here, somewhere hidden, is the retaining ring. There's no way to reach it. We have to pull it out over the top. We've already cleared everything here, of course. The brake is off, we've removed the drive shaft, and now we're ready to position the crossbar with the pressing feet. I've already prepared this for you right here. Now from right behind here, we can effectively use the feet with the precise cutouts to press very accurately on the outer edge of the wheel bearing housing. With the screws, we can fine-tune it precisely to the very edge, and that's exactly what we will proceed to do. Tighten it on the first side, and then we repeat the whole process here. Now we've already set the crossbar in place. We can even let go of it now. It hangs here quite well on its own. Now we need to insert the hydraulic cylinder here and, from the back, the pressing piece, so that we can then pull the bearing outwards with it. So I'm positioning the hydraulic cylinder. All these parts are built very solidly. That's why everything is a bit heavy. It has to be, because there's a lot of force involved here. You can see it nicely here. It's not all as shiny as it is on a new part. And of course, corrosion also plays a role here. Over the years, the bearing definitely doesn't get looser. It actually gets tighter. Now, we have mounted everything here with the hydraulic cylinder, and we can start pressing out the bearing. You can clearly see the ring that had to break so we could remove it. That means we can't reinstall it either. But that's how easily a compact wheel bearing can come out. And now let's make sure a new one goes back in. Here we have the new compact wheel bearing. I've already placed it in the crossbeam with the pressing shoes. You can see it well here. The shoes, or the feet, are designed to be so slim at the front that they really fit onto the outer ring of the bearing. And the force doesn't go through the bearing cages. The bearing is really being pressed in from the outside here. The hydraulic cylinder is already in place as well. Now we are going to carefully mount our counterplate, which has the cutout for the ABS sensor. We need to make sure it's in the correct position, and then we can insert the entire assembly here. double check everything to make sure it's seated correctly. The arms are resting on the outer ring, the pressure plate is secure, and the cutout is in the correct position. Everything is secure here, so now we can press in the wheel bearing. We've now successfully connected our hydraulic pump and can precisely press in the new wheel bearing. The bearing is in, so we'll remove the tool and check the seating of the bearing. The retaining ring has snapped into its groove. The wheel bearing moves very smoothly. We're done with the job. Drive shaft back in, brakes on, test drive.